All right. Hello, hello. Welcome to another session of TTRPG Talk. Thanks for dropping by, Diggs. Right now in the menu today, we are gonna have a fun chit chat. Nice. So the chit chat today. Whoa, hold on. There, sorry. All right. So for today, we are gonna have the talk about God Machine Chronicles. I have awoken at an all right time today. That's cool, Seth. We're gonna be having a conversation about the God Machine Chronicles, which I've been talking about a lot whenever I do the TTRPG streams, and it's actually interesting because um, it's like I saw with the recent virtual convention that uh, more or less Onyx Path is leaving all the old Chronicles of Darkness stuff, which is, I mean, I guess that's a thing, that's a movement they're going for, but I feel like it's really sad that they're forgetting about, um, like the really good stuff, especially God Machine. But yeah, enough of me babbling. Let me just segue with the music real quick. Nice. GMC, never heard of it. Yep, don't worry, we're gonna be talking about it now with with a special guest today. We're live now. Uh, I'll be introducing. He's actually really this person that I'm gonna be talking tonight. Is actually the reason why I'm like really. I was about to say balls deep. I'm really deep into TTRPGs today because of um, him introducing the system to me. But yeah, tonight we have Axell, yellow, yellow.
Hello, everyone.
All right.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, we're live. I'm your special guest. I guess a brief introduction is in order.
Yeah.
I am one of Mars's earliest. Let's just go with earliest DMs.
First.
Introduce.
Yeah.
I what was we met online. We did. I think it was Pathfinder, a
Oh.
long ass campaign of 1.5 years where it was a campaign where I combined both elements of Dark Souls and what was the other game? Dark Souls and Bloodborne
All right.
in a dark medieval setting. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that too well. But there's actually more to that, more to that. So yeah, guys, this is Axell, but Uncle Panda for most of the TTRPG scene. Yeah, I've been telling people time and time again, my first system was Pathfinder. But funny story on how I got into TTRPGs. You more or less, I remember that message. We were kind of like in a writing group, and writing random stuff due to a mutual, and you were like, so you want to try TTRPGs? I was like,
Yeah. I
is it?
vaguely remember this.
Yeah, and it was just like, it was so random, and I was like, is it
Yeah.
like? So I heard RP, and I was like, okay, sure. Um, because like I was really into fanfics back then. Cringe. Well, no, not really cringe. Still me today. Lots of writing of character stuff. So I was thinking, okay, so this is more or less writing, only to find out there was a lot of math involved. What is this? So I got into that thing, and pretty much it snowballed from there. Beyond Pathfinder, and I know how we kind of feel about Pathfinder at the moment, but what other systems have what systems have you played? Like beyond Pathfinder, what have you tried? What are you willing to try?
my first ever system was White Wolf. It was because my cousin brought this game. You should be very familiar with this. Vampire the Masquerade 7th edition. It's that green leatherback book with a rose icon in the middle.
Nice.
It was the complete edition, featured all the clans, especially my favorite, Simizi, the Flesh Crafters. Man, those were the days. Tried running it twice, was absolute shit as a DM, but hey, you've got to start somewhere. Yeah. Then, after getting frustrated because of my inexperience, I went to Pathfinder, did a slightly better job. Other systems that I played, it's just mostly World of Darkness, which I barely get to play World of Darkness as much as I want to. Because number one, the games being rather the games that I really don't like Changeling, or what's the other one, Promethean, which is about Promethean's weird. I don't want to describe it because it's gonna
Brain melt.
it's gonna be another, it's gonna be a very deep rabbit hole. The ones that I really wanted to play, Vampire the Masquerade, maybe a bit. I've only tried Werewolf once, but the spiritualism and shamanism of Werewolf kind of put me off. The things that I really badly wanted to try was Mage the Ascension, not the Awakening. The Awakening was weird. I love the system. I just hate the story. Whereas in Mage the Ascension, I love the story, but I hate the system. We can never have nice things. The other one I wanted to play was Exalted. Which as opposed to your normal fantasy RPG game, you don't start level 1. You basically start as demigods, basically, and some people worship you, some people revere you, and you're kind of free to shape the world as you see fit and suffer the consequences. It's really like, there's that one game that I really wanted to try but never could. And right now, well, we all know the very generic bread and butter. We're all tired of it, but we can't stop hearing about it. D&D 3.5 and 5e. Jesus Christ. Don't ever want to hear about it again. Everyone says, hey, I heard you're a DM. Can you play D&D 5? Can you host D&D 5e? It's like, nope, sorry. Tired. Very tired. Don't want to hear about it ever again.
It's funny you mentioned Mage. I don't know if you know. I've been running a Mage game. I actually talked about Mage the Ascension and Awakening with Jay in one of the TTRPG talks, and he also ran Exalted for John. It was really cool. I'm gonna I know you're not open to Awakening, but if you want to try, he might run a game, and I can ask if I can slot you in, because who knows. So Mage is actually growing on me, because I made it more of a local flair because of the Tressa and
which one, Awakening or Ascension? Or just Mage in general? Ascension.
I made
the current 5th edition, I've heard the current 5th edition is actually quite okay. There's a little bit of SJW elements, but so far it's okay.
It's
tolerable. Sorry, not okay. Tolerable.
There's the 20th anniversary is what I'm using. But yeah, it's nice to hear.
Sorry, not the 5th edition. Yeah.
Because V5.
So in case, let me just interrupt you. Do people here know why we're so in love with Mage Ascension? Should I explain what Mage Ascension is?
Oh yeah, you can do a quick convo. A small tidbit.
So yeah, I'll have to time myself. I'll just give myself 2 minutes because we have a long show to run. So Meiji Ascension, basically, it's a reflection of our world. It is literally our world. There's cars, there's computers, there's everything. But if you look underneath, and I don't mean look with your eyes, um, like the namesake, ascending. In this current modern world of ours, there are the sleepers, which are your everyday people. They go to work, they brush their teeth, they eat breakfast, they go to work, they screw around, and then they sleep. It's a very mundane, boring existence. And then there's the awakened, or those who have ascended. They have ascended to a higher plane of reality, and they have seen the weave, the ley lines, the magic that is so carefully hidden. And the reason why this magic is hidden is because magic in Mage Ascension runs on belief. If you believe, it happens.
Paradigms.
And
Yeah.
there are two opposing forces, which one of them is my favorite. It's called the technocracy. I'll explain that later. The other one is called the traditions. Now, the traditions are your witches. You literally have a faction that are witches called the Verbana, and you
Verbena,
have
yeah.
a Harry Potter faction called the Harry Potter faction called the shit. What were the Hermetic Order of Dawn. Um, and then you
Order
so
of
many
Hermes?
others. Oh, so Order of Hermes. Yeah, Order of Hermes. Basically, your Harry Potter faction. They have wands, they have incantations, and then there are your hipsters, which get their magical powers from drugs, called the Children of Ecstasy. Let's skip that. This is World of Darkness. It deals with very adult topics.
Yeah.
Now, these people, the traditions used to run the world when it was like magic used to be a huge element in the world, except during the Dark Ages, where the tradition completely fucked up and fucked up badly. It triggered the Dark Age, it triggered the bubonic plague, it triggered so many things that there was this other order called they weren't known as the technocracy yet, but they had the backing of the Catholic Church and some other Christians. And then they said, they told the traditions, you know what, you fuck this up, we have to clean everything up. We will introduce magic to the current believers, but this will be scaled down magic. And this magic was called science and technology. It's really very interesting. I could go more and more because now, like, it's a very interesting plot because now the technocracy is in power, and they're trying to keep the traditions down because they don't want the traditions fucking up again. But when you play the game, you will definitely see that the technocracy has gone power hungry and power mad as well, because they're literally killing all the non-technocracy mages, and they've caused a lot of problems as well. So I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
So that's one of my favorite settings.
Indeed. Mage has been fun. Ascension at least. With me being a storyteller and being guided by Jay and using his converted localized versions because I was super inspired by Ches, another game master who made like a localized scene. He kind of made like a Manila Mages, and that's what got me into Mage. And then I made a campaign out of it, and we just finished the third episode on Saturday. I just introduced the Cult of Ecstasy actually to them on the third, and
Oh,
it's funny because there is also a character named Pedro made by a player, because it has really it hits close to home because it's 2016 timeline. The elections just finished. Yeah, I went the social political angle of like the elections just ended. The new president is Duterte. Everybody's like divisive about it. And yeah, I use the elements of like you know people getting shut up and killed and being called drug addicts, and his character is a drug addict, so it's gonna be interesting how they play that out.
Oof.
So really, it's heavy fun stuff. It's been good. It's been nice with the run, and I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Jay actually talked a lot about Mage and Ascension and Awakening with his wife in a previous stream. So it's been really cool that there's more love
That's
for
nice.
Mage.
Yeah.
You should definitely talk to Jay. I should hook you up with Jay. Yeah, but
Yeah.
and he ran
And the
Exalted.
reason why
Yeah, and the reason why.
Exalted, huh?
Yeah, but the reason why.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
No. The reason why what?
No, and I just really love Mage because at the end, like all World of Darkness games, ultimately has this philosophical undertone, and Mage is, at the end of the day, what values do you believe in?
Yeah, the paradigms.
Especially the paradigms. It basically it tells you like, especially if you're technocracy, you believe in the value of stability and status quo, right?
Yeah.
You can be seen as conservative, but there are flip sides as well. Like if you keep maintaining the status quo, there's no growth, there's no lovely things in life. But yeah, let's move on.
Yes, it's cool though. There you want to try a lot more systems. You have ran a few games, and like you mentioned, you ran the Pathfinder campaign that had Dark Souls elements. I kind of wanted to lean on like as mentioned in the title of this recent episode, the God Machine Chronicle. So you kind of gave a brief on Mage the Ascension. Would
Yes.
So could you give a quick blurb on what, because like World of Darkness has different beats, right?
Oh my god.
Yeah, Vampire the Masquerade is like vampires, werewolf is werewolf, and Werewolf the Apocalypse is about werewolves, and then there's Wraith, the Oblivion, I think, and then there's a lot of themes.
Yeah.
There's story beats and thematic elements in World of Darkness where you explore different monsters. In God Machine Chronicles, it's actually slightly different, and I kind of want to give you the floor on what it is exactly. Like,
oh boy, thank you. I really appreciate that you're giving me this. So, God Machine Chronicles. Why is it called the God Machine Chronicles?
Exactly.
So let me give you a brief description. I just like to imagine. God Machine Chronicles is very like Mage. In fact, there is a connection to Mage, but I'm not gonna spoil it. So in God Machine Chronicles, everyone you play as your average Joes, right? Like the people I just told in Mage. They're not called sleepers. I can't remember what they're called, but they're just everyday people trying to go to work, trying to get laid, trying to eat, trying to do, move on with their lives. But in the process of, moving on with their lives, they see something so strange. Like, I'll just give you an example. They find maybe an 8-foot man just carrying a box with his hand. It looks heavy, and he's carrying the box from one end of town to the other end of town, right? And this box is maybe it's 3 foot by 3 foot. He does this every day. And you see him, and everyone avoids him because, he's strange and weird. Until one day, he doesn't do it, and all you see is the box. The box is now laid right out your door. You open the box, it's full of candles. And those candles, each of those candles have the names of people, and you find one with your name on it, right? It's freaky. Uh,
It is.
and you find your name, you find the candle with your neighbor's name on it, and when you and the size of the candle and the sizes of the candle are also they're not fixed. Certain candles are longer, certain candles are not. So out of sheer curiosity, you decide to light the shortest one up, right? And it says this guy, and the name is Bob. And when the candle finally is done lighting up, like you completely burn the candle out, the very next day you see the newspaper, you find out Bob has died.
Oh.
And so you feel like shit, and now you're very curious as to what the fuck is happening. Why are these candles that represent basically how long your life will be just delivered to the front door? Why is this man carrying it, and why is there's an address on the box of the candles that is supposed to mean something, but when you try to trace it, it leads to nowhere? Except on that a certain day, maybe a holiday, you go to that same place and there's a door. It's not connected to anything, it's just a door in the middle of nowhere. You open it up and you find this warehouse full of boxes with candles on it. And on the sides of this warehouse, you'll find this really strange machinery. Not only machinery, you find out that this warehouse is filled with angels, right? Angels that are singing, telling stories, doing riddles and shit. And they're doing this really strange celestial calculation. And these songs, they can't get the fuck out of your head. It's an earworm. And in the middle of this warehouse is a very strange machine. It looks like it's steampunk. It's made of brass. At the same time, there are runes on it, and it's calculating something. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to the God Machine Chronicles. Shit is fucking weird.
Yes, that's the best way to explain God Machine Chronicle. It's really weird. I actually would say that it kind of leans on, I guess, like a bit of sci-fi mixed with like cosmic horror. In a sense, would it be
It's
safe?
yeah, that's true, but it's very conspiratorial as well. Like you can literally see your uncle with a tinfoil hat saying, "Oh my God, the France are turning gay," and you decide to investigate that, and you find that something is causing it. Maybe as I said, some weird. Maybe a guy looks in the mirror every month, and then it leads down to the frogs turning gay. Gray. Oh, sorry, gay. Jesus Christ. Yeah. So it's weird. Like it's supernatural conspiracy theory with cosmic horror and shit.
Yeah.
And sometimes it does disturb you. And there's this one scenario that absolutely scared the living shit out of me. It involves Google, but dear Lord, it scared the living shit out of me when I read through the scenario. I won't spoil it.
What? What? No, I mean, you can give a slight spoiler on it, cause like we wanna like kind of give a sense of how God Machine
So
works.
So God Machine Chronicles. I'll give you the Google scenario. You're in a data center, and you're filling up the data. You're doing data entry, and then your boss tells you, "I need these things filled out. I need you to do research." But then he hands you a stack of papers and says, "Make sure that your research and whatever you're filling out is must follow these instructions on this thick pile of paper." And when you go through that pile of paper, things look okay. The first item on your list is 2 plus 2 is equals to 4. Everything seems okay, except when you go to the middle of the pile of paper, it now says, "Please enter. The Earth is 10% water." Like, huh? What? The sky is red. Uh, God is a hippopotamus, right? So you call your boss and says, "Boss, is this true?" And then your boss, just follow it. You don't want to get fired. So you do that, and when you're filling this up in the machine, the very next day, the sky is indeed red.
Oh wow. That
Yeah,
is.
but the scenario is far more subtle. I've literally had to cut out extra steps to just show you how weird and wonky and absolutely horrifying. So the data center they're in basically is this cosmic place that has the power to rewrite reality, right? And the people who work in that place don't know that they're actually changing reality one entry at a time. And they don't notice it because as they type it in, they just accept that it is.
Ooh. Damn.
Yeah, that's in God Machine Chronicles. And okay, so now I need to explain what the God Machine Chronicle is. Why is there something called the God Machine?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
What is
in
it?
this really weird, strange place, let me tell you. Maybe I'll just ask you a couple of questions. Like, how do you know that the reality we're in is the reality we're in? I know it sounds insane, right? But I need
Yeah.
to ask you this. How do we know that we're not in some god's or some supernatural entity's dream? That if he wakes up, we just stop existing, right?
Yeah.
How do we know that we're not a simulation, right? That if we die, we just immediately get unplugged like the Matrix.
Yeah.
So the game implies that we're actually in one, and that we're in a simulation, and it's a very strange simulation. And the reason why these weird things happen, like the candles, reality just subtly rewriting itself, is because in the very center, or in if you peel all the layers of reality, there is this huge eldritch machine, right? To call it a machine, there is no better word to describe it, but it is a machine that keeps on churning, it keeps on calculating, and it's very, very heavily hinted that it is responsible for our current simulation.
Yeah.
The scary part is this machine malfunctions sometimes. And when it malfunctions, the machine does really weird things. For example, the box full of candles, or the place that the data center that just casually and subtly rewrites reality. Yeah, you might just if it malfunctions one day, you might just wake up and find angels with faceless angels staring down at you. Not the nice kind of angels, the terrifying kind of angels, just
They.
staring down at you, asking you if you want a burger. And
Is
you
it?
find a burger. The burger is not a burger, but it's a fucking beating heart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, I'm trying to explain to you how batshit insane God Machine Chronicles is. Yeah.
Yeah, it is, and
So,
yeah,
yeah, that's it. That's God Machine Chronicles.
indeed, and like the rhetorical question of reality, that's the thing that that really put this as one of my top favorite World of Darkness systems, because I like the concept that existential dread is explored as a story beat. Like with that's what drew me to Call of Cthulhu as well. But that's more like cosmic horror and like old ones. But this one is like really goes on the like what you said, the conspiracies, and like you start to question your perception. You start to question everything you see. Kind of makes you paranoid to a fault, like and it leans on to like a lot more realistic things, like what you said. It uses bits and pieces of the world, and and then like the curtain is pulled and ta-da, it's just machine that just hiccuped. And I think it also explores like a bit of the like the simulation theory. A lot of games that I like, for example Soma, the video game, like it does tackle those kinds of questions. And actually Soma reminds me of God Machine, now that I mention it, now that it's mentioned. And
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
right, it's like a everything that you feel and experience, you find out that it's all just a cognition or like a program instilled on a machine. So does that make you actually human and stuff? Like I like that the game actually has that kind of mechanic. Yes.
Speaking of, the God Machine is tied to other game systems from World of Darkness,
Yes.
especially Demons the Descent. And Demons the Descent actually explores the God Machine Chronicles even further.
Yes. One thing I actually love about the older, I guess it's called old World of Darkness or Chronicles of Darkness or whatever it is.
No, but GMC is not. GMC is the newest one.
World of Darkness in White Wolf, because right now Onyx Publishing has World of Darkness, but right now they're not incorporating God Machine, which is super sad because like God Machine is actually one of those really, for me, one of the strongest themed games that they have, because like it could really be applicable for like the current scene, especially like with like misinformation, and you can literally use social media as a tool to make the story like, and make it more relatable. And I really like, I actually want to give you the floor on like the game that I played with you with God Machine. You introduced God Machine to a few people through a story called Creedmore. It's the campaign Creedmore.
Yes.
And I love how I got to experience, like that's my first-hand experience for God Machine. I kind of want to know your thought process on how you created Creedmore.
How I created it?
Yeah, the setting. What made you think about the monsters that you threw at us in the first run, in the first campaign? Like, what made you think about like the government conspiracy?
Okay, when you're talking about the first campaign, is when I was still running it on World of Darkness, or when I was running it in
World of Darkness
Monster
first.
of the Week?
World of Darkness first, because like
You'll have to refresh my memories, because my memory with that game is already kind of iffy. Like I don't even remember the creatures I threw at you. I remember there was maybe an angel.
Actually yes, there was an angel. It was it was an angel. And there was I think you had 3 types of characters that people can pick. Like what you mentioned, it's like normal people, day to day, and
normal people.
There was the awakened, people who have psychic abilities. There was also, I think, somebody like who's in the military. I forgot the term you used for that, soldier or something. And then there was just the average Joe, like really mundane, really just run of the mill. And the thing is, like the system didn't really net it, but I liked how you made that touch that there would be different people. If you go through this path, this is your affiliation. If you go through this path, this is your affiliation.
Oh,
I remember.
yeah.
I remember
The
those.
faction system.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
God Machine does. I think it's like very loosely based in terms of the affiliation. But I think you made your own, like in terms of, I think it was Project Zero or something. The tech people that give information about. It's kind of like the conspiracy theorist group where Daphne was originally.
Oh,
Yeah, I remember that.
so what I did, so uh, that one was directly ripped off from Hunter the Vigil.
Okay. Okay, so you imported
The
Hunter for
factions
that.
were because when you play Hunter the Vigil, you're everyday people as well. Like I did, to be honest, I didn't understand why God Machine Chronicles and Hunter was it Hunter the Vigil or Hunter the I can't remember the second one.
Hunter.
The new line. They did make the direct connection between Hunter the Vigil and God Machine Chronicles, which would have really made a lot of sense because in Hunter you were actually playing as run of the mill ordinary people. Except some of these people were touched either by God, by the devil, by supernatural incidents,
Yeah.
or they just got mind broken because they saw something that they shouldn't.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that faction system was actually from Hunter the Vigil.
There,
Uh,
there's also
Network
Hunter the
Zero.
Reckoning. Hunter the Reckoning was the other one, but
Hun-
I think you're right
I
with.
can't remember which one's which.
I think Vigil's the right one. The
I,
green cover. It's the green
yeah,
cover. Um, but yeah.
yeah. So all the factions that I use in Creedmore are actually from World of Darkness. Because what World of Darkness did was the newest one, the new line. What the hell do you call it? They call it the Chronicles, right? Because the old World of Darkness is called Classic. The new one is called Chronicles. So in Chronicles, the thing that I like about Chronicles is that they made the rules a hell of a lot streamlined and easier. Because we know that in Classic, especially when you play Mage the Ascension, the rules are batshit insane.
Yeah.
Like Mage is one of those. Mage Ascension is one of those games that it's nice to talk about. It's an absolute nightmare to run it as a DM. You will go absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
So I tried implementing everything, which is also why it didn't. Why my first iteration of uh, Creedmore Chronicles didn't last very long. I think we only did like 2 or 3 sessions,
I think we did
and
three.
then
Yeah.
everyone stopped. Yeah, and everyone stopped because, well, also the reason why it stopped is because I'm not talking down. I'm not talking shit about the people
Yeah. It's okay.
the general I don't know how to say this, but to mince my words, right? People in the Philippines prefer to play D&D.
That.
Uh, when you introduce them to a system that is something like World of Darkness, be it Classic or Chronicles, you will face a dilemma because they will think that to play World of Darkness, you have to min max, you have to power game, you have to. I mean, it's also done in World of Darkness, but the min maxing is really not intended, and it's a bit difficult to min max as well.
Yeah, because like
It's
it's
a
very
bit more
role play
difficult to min
heavy.
max. Well, it's role play. It's really role play heavy. That's why I really like systems that are not D&D because I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I feel the people that I play with, at least most of the time, not 90%, maybe 70% of the time, they do feel a bit emotionally immature sometimes.
Point.
So sometimes I just don't introduce them to World of Darkness or what. I mean, you can see this in other games as well, but sometimes I feel, and this is just my opinion, that the this phenomenon is heavily observed in games like D&D and Pathfinder.
Point. Yeah, I mean like
Yeah.
it is a gateway. Like I'm glad that there's been a few changes with 5e, and there's like this a lot of conversation going on about the culture we have with you know TTRPGs, how we like how it's more than just a game, and the thing
Yeah.
is, it can't be helped, especially in the timeline that we were in. It was really
Yeah.
it was super like 3.5 made you very combat heavy, and the people that got to play it were just focusing on the core element of the combat, and doing something
Yep.
outside of combat was jarring. And it's right, I still feel the struggle of whenever you pitch a different TTRPG to people who have been playing 5e for a long time or playing Dungeons and Dragons for a long time. It's a really hard transition for some people. Some people get
It
really
is.
comfortable with, with the systems they're in, and that's totally fine. To each their comfort zones. I just hope there's a lot more openness now to try more things. I'm glad that there's still there's some people now that do a lot of roleplay elements, but yeah, five it
Yeah.
shouldn't just be limited to 5e. Like the TTRPG experience, hopefully it's not just limited to D&D. Especially like the group we had, the group we played with, um, they were really into the combat, like very to the point that they were just talking about mechanics. And I get it. Some people thrive off that kind of gameplay. Kind of treat it like a video game of sorts, where think about stats, think about the weapons, think about the armor. Sure, that's your thing, but you'll always we're in a place right now where we can find people that will gravitate towards the kind of gameplay that we want, and it's just a matter of finding the people that are open to it, and just having that conversation to try new things is always something that it's a difficult it's a really difficult thing to ask, like, hey, can you try something outside of your comfort zone, especially with themes like this,
Yeah.
like the themes like of
Yeah.
monsters playing like monsters, like in terms of vampire you're playing like a soulless monster that has an inner beast, or even high I forgot the term that Jay used. Basically, it's like a high concept thing, like with Mage, where it's like
Yeah.
philosophical, and with now God Machine Chronicle, where it's mostly just conspiracies and thinking like mind breaking existential dread. Some people just want the
Yeah.
fantasy hack and slash kind of setup, and that's fine. But
They they want a power fantasy instead of existential dread. I get that.
yeah, it's the
Yeah.
buying what I think call it it's the player's buy-in. Like you have to figure out
Yeah.
if it's the type of people that would gravitate towards those kinds of storyline. But I'm really glad
Yeah.
that you introduced it, like despite the struggles of running it, you actually instilled the seed of, God Machine, uh, with the storyline. And Creedmore was in the three.
To be honest, I've really forgotten most of the.
It's okay. I just want to share this one
Sorry.
thing that you did with God Machine, uh, God Machine Chronicle Creedmore. Because they're just to let you guys know the
Hello.
audience.
Hello.
Yes, can you hear me? Yellow. Hello.
Yeah, I'm cutting out. You're cutting out for some reason.
That's okay. No worries. If ever, it's cutting in and out. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. So I just wanted to share about the because like there are two different Creedmores now because you imported Creedmore to another system, which we'll talk about later.
Yes.
The I just wanted to share the experience with God Machines.
Yes.
With Creedmore. I played the psychic, paranoid character of like Velma. Imagine if Velma had anxiety, paranoia, and a smoking problem and all that. That's the character I made for Creedmore. One of the most memorable things that happened was there was like this Men in Black scene, right? They were the group was taken in a van, and it was just that okay, why are we being taken? Because we were researching something on the computer that we're not supposed to look into, and because we tried to use the computer to find out about a certain thing, and then we were being warned by the people that we were reaching out to, like, okay, they're coming, oh no. I just remembered that kind of, because like when I got into it, I was really into horror stories and like the thriller kind, and the setup was immediately like, oh no, okay, we're kind of like in a horror movie, and these men in black are not good people, we're doomed, kind of thing. And when we were taken in and brought in the van, and um, it was just like a weird panic sense of like, okay, what are we gonna do in this scenario? And uh, it was like a really badass scene because the van was flipped. My character had a nosebleed, made the van stop inertia style. It flipped, and then another player who played like a Punisher character walked in with guns blazing, literally, started shooting people. It really the way that the story happened, it really cemented in my brain that this system is so good for horror related storytelling or like just the general conspiracies. And it was a very memorable thing on my part that uh, I ended up using God Machine Chronicle for two more campaigns related to hell, but more on that. I'm not going to talk about that on this stream. But more or less, your Creedmore God Machine Chronicle storyline really cemented how this system became my top World of Darkness, because the build up of like secrets and questioning yourself of what it is you know, what it is you don't know, and how much in deep shit are you guys in, and how much you're in like not in control of the scenario, and
Yep.
it was so expertly played with that story. And I'm glad that you continued the story afterwards, like despite it having a super short run in God Machine, you actually got to import it in uh, another system powered by the apocalypse called Monster of the
Yeah.
Week, which is another system that you introduced. Again, like you've been introducing a lot of cool systems. So, care to explain what Monster of the Week is?
So, Monster of the Week. Monster of the Week is using a framework, a set of rules from the Powered by the Apocalypse. Uh, and Powered by the Apocalypse came to be, I think it was because of the game that they had, which is a Mad Max game. They didn't want to call it Mad Max, but they just said I think it was called Apocalypse Now or something. So it's a class system, but it's a refreshing take because even if there's a class system, it's not very it's not very rules intensive. Like the rules that you need to play the game are in just 3 pages. It will not take more than 3 pages. That's it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I fell in love with the system when I first saw it. It's because and even the DM's guide is like what, just 30 pages. 30 page. It's a 300. I think it's a 300-page book, and the DM's guide is just 30 pages. And but the rest of the pages is or at least most of the pages is they will basically it's a philosophy of how to run the game, which I
Ooh.
really like because it doesn't really flat out tell you you can't do this or you can't do this. It tells you this is why we're doing it. These are the beliefs or the values that we have to uh, which explains this rule, and that's it. Like it's a very narrative game. It actually takes. It's one of those games that I really like because it gets rid. It doesn't completely eliminate power gaming or min maxing or power fantasy, but it makes it irrelevant.
Yeah.
Absolutely irrelevant. And in D&D you have armor class, those kind of things. Make sure you roll higher than your. Make sure your rolls higher than your opponent's armor class. Oh my god, there's so many fucking stacking feats. If this happens, +1 to armor class. If I'm picking my nose, +1 to armor class. If I'm in the sea, +1. I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, the amount of bookkeeping you had to do when you're a DM for D&D or Pathfinder is absolute batshit insane.
True. It's like
Right? In
not
this game, it's very simple.
like
Just roll. If you roll anything higher, if you roll equal to or 10, that's a critical success. Uh, if you roll 7 to 9, that's a partial success and also a partial failure. If you roll anything below a 7, that's a complete failure. And the thing that really makes me the thing that I like about this system is partial success and partial failure, right?
yeah.
Because and by the way, the DM or the storyteller or the lore keeper, whatever term you use, the DM doesn't actually get any initiatives. Like the DM doesn't actually need to roll for anything at all, right? In D&D and in Pathfinder, the DM's headache is proportional to how many encounters he's going to throw at you. Here in this system, it doesn't matter how many monsters you throw, like because all the rolls, the DM doesn't need to roll anything. And whether the monster attacks, acts, or disables, or cripples you, or does something is dependent only on the player's roll. If the player rolls a partial success or a partial failure, then only will the monsters act. If it's a complete failure, then yeah, the monsters will definitely act and do something terrible. It's literally that simple. Like I'd like to sing praises about this system, but you know what? I'm just gonna let you find out. Monster of the week, people. It's a really beautiful system.
Indeed. Like I would agree that Powered by the Apocalypse was definitely a game changer. I only got introduced to it last year because of the game in Creedmore. When you reintroduced it in a new system. And
Oh,
I like I didn't know about Powered by the Apocalypse until you actually imported it in the event that we were in. Um, and now the kids caught wind of it. Um, there are a lot more Powered by the Apocalypse games now that are being played.
yeah.
The hero themed one, which is Masks. There's also I've actually play tested for Apocalypse Keys, which is Hellboy inspired, where you kind of play
Oh,
as kind of like you bring yourself closer. You can be one of the reasons for the apocalypse, and you play a monster, which is super fun. There was also Legend of the Elements, but I think they were doing official Avatar: The Last Airbender kind of powered by the apocalypse. They're doing an official one because I think Legend of the Elements was the unofficial one, and
Oh yeah.
and Monster of the Week, it's basically for people, at least my timeline, like the late 20s people who grew up with shows like Supernatural, Scooby Doo, Hanna Barbera, um, even like those shows that show the
Buffy the
monster.
Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Like kids who grew up in those kinds of shows, like every day or every episode there is a new introduced monster, or like a new that monster of the week, like literally the name of the system. It it definitely felt nostalgic, and the way that the system, like it made it super streamlined that it's brain dead, like you don't even need to think too much other than the story, your character interactions. It made more because like the thing that I liked about World of Darkness is the heavy role play. Like it's so simple, just the dots, and then this one just went a step higher in making it super simplified. You don't have to think about XP and stuff. Monster Hearts is also a good, super good system of Power the Apocalypse as well. So
If you want to play, Twilight and Eclipse, Monster Heart people. I'm not judging. I'm not judging.
How dare you? I mean, I do like I'm sweating because I played a werewolf. I played a werewolf for that one, and I ran a Monster Hearts campaign here in Twitch. But yeah, really good system. Really focuses on like just the basic moves, and there are set numbers, and the fact that it still follows like a similar success rate, partial, and then the crit success, which is kind of like what I liked about World of Darkness, because the success had variations. Like there was dramatic success, and then successes. Like it changed the game so far, and I guess since you don't remember the God Machine Creedmore much, what can you share about what happened in Creedmore story-wise when you imported it to Monster of the Week? What was season 1 like? What was season 2 like? Um, so yeah.
So, Creedmore.
Actually, the original God Machine, the one that I ran on
World of Darkness. I wanted to implement all of the races. That's how ambitious I was. Like all them vampires, all them werewolves, all of those really weird things like Case. Um, yeah, but I couldn't because it became too goddamn complicated. So come Monster of the Week, I played it first, and uh, I liked it. Where I can't remember who introduced me to the game. So I said, you know what? It's so rules light. I can literally run amok with this, right? Let me import Creedmore Chronicles into this game. The only sad thing I did was I removed I removed the God Machine from the second iteration of Creedmore, so it's more. So I brought the focus to more to warring factions basically. So here comes first season was basically your average. Oh no, people are dying. We don't know what's causing it. And then and then they begin investigating. First, they think that the people that are dying. So let me give you the case file, right?
Yeah.
Um, people in people around the world, and police, Interpol, police, FBI, uh, is investigating a series of murders. The murders, the they believe the murders are caused by a serial killer known as the Matchmaker.
Dun, dun,
The the
dun.
modus the modus operandi of the Matchmaker is that she or he preys on paramours. Basically, if you cheat, she's going to get you. And she has this signature style where once she kills her two targets, because it's always two targets, she sews them together. And
Oh.
uh, she, she sews them together and she ties them up in this web-like thread and just suspends them in the room.
Damn. Kind of gives me
Yeah,
Junji Ito vibes. I don't know if you've seen.
was I was uh, I was inspired by Junji Ito and a bunch of things, like
Yeah. Army of
really
One.
immersed myself in. Yes, yes, it was inspired by that.
Army of
And
One
I
was
said,
messed
you
up.
know what? You know what? Let's add a supernatural angle to this. I want this thing to be a serial killer. Anyway, so and then what the FBI was trying to make sense because the killings weren't just happening in Creedmore. They were happening all over the world. So they were thinking, maybe it's a cult that's doing this. But the amount of skill to sew a body together and suspend them in midair using nothing but very thin, unidentifiable of some unknown material takes skill. So their investigators, which is composed of a college student, a barista from Starbucks, yeah,
Lol.
and can't remember. I think were you there yet, Velma?
I was, there's, if you're talking about Jorge's, and Jorge, the initial.
Yeah, Jorge was the catch.
I was
Were you there?
I was the childhood friend who was the valedictorian, super smart, kind of got dragged into
Yeah.
it. A cleaner version of
So-
the God Machine, Velma.
Yeah. So Jorge investigated it because his professor was actually his professor was one of the victims. They just found her body tied up with a younger student. Yeah. Also, part of her signature was she would leave a phonogram. You know those record players,
Yeah.
those old timey record players where
Yep.
you use the vinyl.
Yep.
And sing this, it would be a song called Matchmaker by Fiddler on the Roof. Right? You know how the song goes.
Yeah.
Matchmaker, matchmaker, make me a match. But it would play it in a very creepy way.
Yeah.
Matchmaker, matchmaker.
Yeah. It was.
Static.
It was freaky. Yeah, it was super freaky when it was first introduced, and everybody was just like, "Oh shit!" Oh man, I'm never gonna see that song normally after that.
So this serial killer turns out that this FBI agents that Jorge was working along with aren't really FBI agents. You know who they are, Mars.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Fucking agency.
So, well, Um, if you go deeper than the agency, I think I have also introduced them in the original God Machine Chronicles.
Yeah.
But I didn't introduce them as the agency. I introduced them as the technocracy.
Yeah. I had like flashbacks when you, oh no, the technocrats are up after us again. Like, super fun. Um, so,
Yeah.
I guess,
So the go ahead.
I don't know, I just wanted to ask, like, um, I guess a bit of comparison. Like, if you can
Mhm.
vaguely remember, like, the system of God Machine, like, with all the dots and stuff, and then comparing it to Monster of the Week on like just it being a 2d6, which do you think um, kind of helped the story, uh, like how did it help your stories, like the mechanics, at least, like the dot system versus the 2d6, like what do you think are like similar beats, and like what is their strengths and weaknesses when it came to running your Creedmore Chronicle?
So, uh, because of, like, for example, Monster of the system I ran in, because there was partial failures and partial success, I can still dictate my terms as long as you don't roll very well, right? And rolling very well is actually kind of difficult in Monster of the Week until you get some experience, maybe, or if you're helping each other out. It's also difficult for the player to min-max. So when I want a particular plot to happen, uh, there's very they have I wouldn't say they don't have control. They have control, but the control is based on the narrative that I want to spin. I can't do that with World of Darkness because you can game World of Darkness a bit, right? Like I roll so well. Oh, 21 aggravated damage. Like, well, shit.
Yeah.
Well, shit. Yeah. There's only 7 health boxes. So I as a DM, when I run World of Darkness or D&D or Pathfinder, have to come with a bullshit reason why the guy is still alive, and I want the guy to be alive because I want my story to continue on and not get derailed.
Yeah. So I guess like it was the Monster of the Week was, they call it GM-less, but in a way it gave more. Its strength was being able to move the story along, keep the monster alive
Yeah, it
long
does.
enough to continue your plot. Like it didn't have to be killed because of aggravated damage and stuff like that. Um, it could still stay alive until
Yeah.
the players do something to get rid of it.
Also, in Monster of the Week, most of the monsters you face, it actually states in the book that there must be specific conditions for you to kill the monsters, and these conditions must be revealed only when they investigate.
Oh,
Right? So it does give more credence to, for example, the matchmaker. They were doing like they were rolling so well. Like they were doing 10. There was time where I think they did more than 4. Basically they almost one-shotted it. But because they didn't investigate the weakness of the monster, they couldn't really kill the monster. In fact, the monster was going back to the other world, escaping to the other world to reform again.
yeah.
One of the conditions was you have to kill the monster in the place where the monster was originally formed. That was one of the conditions.
Yeah. And like even if they killed it
So
successfully,
it does.
it was like even if they killed it successfully,
Yeah, it's just gonna come back.
it's gonna keep coming back until they take initiative to investigate it and kill it at the source and stuff like that.
Yes. Yes.
Awesome. I still love that matchmaker
Yeah.
arc. Um, and I think yeah, like Powered by the Apocalypse really um, takes away the thoughts about contested roles. Um,
Yeah.
and HP, you don't have to think about two sets of HP. Uh, and there's just like how many stats was it? Like five stats to think about. Compared to World of Darkness,
Yeah,
where
not a lot.
nine, and then like there was a lot of skills, a lot of attributes that you have to think
Yeah,
about.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, a lot. They could.
which is fun. Like,
But so right now, I'm going towards the games that have little rules. Not no rules, but little rules. But what they do with those little rules is they design it very well that you don't need to think about so many things. They're basically games with as little bookkeeping for the DM or the storyteller as much as possible. That's what the games that I'm in right now. I don't give a shit about Pathfinder or D&D. I might still definitely, yeah, think about World of Darkness because World of Darkness settings are just really its strong point.
yeah, that's actually one of the reasons why World of Darkness is up there because the the mythos and like the themes aren't they're really fleshed out. They have like 500 plus pages, good lord. Or like it would get to like 600 plus pages of just describing the world, how it works, and um,
So, so let me give you an example. In World of Darkness, um, like let's go with vampires, right?
mhm,
In World of Darkness, the old one, the classic one, the reason why vampires exist is because of Cain and Abel.
mhm.
Just to give you very short summary of how the things they thought about, right? The vampire story started with Cain and Abel. When Cain killed, when Cain killed Abel, God cursed Cain, and this curse was actually the curse of vampirism.
Like,
And Cain actually founded the city of Nod, had a wife, and had 13 children, which basically is the 13 clans of vampires.
wow.
And hello,
Yeah, yeah, I'm still here.
yeah. So that's basically their world building. They actually based it on something.
Yeah, it's um with World, there was just like there was a real thought process on the like how the monsters came to be or how the monsters you're facing came to be and what you're up against. Like they really thought about the origins and everything, which is really cool. It's fleshed out. Um, there have been like it's interesting because you're here right now talking praising about Powered by the Apocalypse, and there's also other game masters who prefer like the World of Darkness kind of systems. But it's interesting that there's a lot of variations to get the story across, and everybody is just all after the story, like building
Yeah.
the story with it. With it more of Creedmore actually. I guess another thing is what were the difficulties you encountered? You mentioned with God Machine and other systems you've ran like Pathfinder, the bookkeeping was the most like at least the difficult, or at least the one that really discouraged you from running more of those kinds of games. What was the difficult part running Monster of the Week? Was there any difficulty that you experienced using the system to run Creedmore?
Oh, there's something that I keep forgetting to do.
because it's so rules light. I keep forgetting. So there's basically a timeline that you should assign to all players or to all plots. Hello,
Yeah, yeah, I'm here. Don't worry, I'm here. I'm here.
hello. I'm hearing a lot of static. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Let
Sorry, I'm
me.
hearing a lot of static for some reason, or that might be the fan. Anyway, so there's actually one of the things I keep forgetting to do is there should be a timeline. Um, in the way they do the timeline is actually pretty interesting. Um, they don't give it's not actual time, but it's basically the phases of the sun. Sunrise, sunrise, noon, sunrise, noon, sunset, and midnight, basically. So everything should. So the timeline is basically a pacing. It's it gives the DM and the players a pace to finish their campaign. So sunrise is basically when they're beginning to investigate. Things are still very safe, right? Things are very safe. They can go to libraries without getting harassed by weird shit. Noon is where the danger is revealed, basically, or they figure out a piece of the puzzle, not completely revealed. Sunset is basically the climax. The danger is fully revealed. Once the danger is fully revealed, the creature will now, will now, uh, the creature and its minions or whatever will now come out and threaten the players. Evening is when the players, by evening, your player should already be fighting back. Because when midnight comes, by midnight they should have already beaten the monster or solved the mystery basically. And I keep forgetting to implement this because what currently happened in the campaign was I kept introducing new problems in to the players and the players got overwhelmed.
Yeah. It's okay. Like, so if they didn't go through, if you didn't use this timeline, it would actually,
I,
it would actually affect
you would
how.
have a lot more breathing room. Yeah, you would have a lot more breathing room. Like, because what happened was after I introduced the matchmaker, I immediately introduced the problem with the agency. I shouldn't have done that. I should have used another monster and then slowly introduced the agency that they're not really nice people and they've been doing really shitty things behind your back.
Ooh. Okay. Damn. Yeah.
Yeah, what I did was matchmaker. Oh, Agent Feelgood's there. Oh, Agent Feelgood can do these terrible things.
I mean, I guess from a player standpoint, that wasn't like, at least in the sense that, because you currently you ran as, like, I would declare two seasons. Like, there was season one, which was Creedmore, the location of Creedmore, and then season two was Montfort. Um,
Yeah,
so, like, I guess your recommendation for people if they ever try
is
Mon
pace it.
pace it. Yeah.
Pace it. Don't do what I did where I just kept introducing monsters when the things weren't even resolved yet.
I mean, I guess yeah, it's a balancing act, knowing, like, it's okay to
Yeah,
have multiple things happen at once. Um,
yeah, but they shouldn't. Yeah, maybe a couple of things happen at once, but not multiple things,
yeah.
right? Because I think what happened was it was the matchmaker followed by the agency and the shitty things that the agency did. And then aside from the agency, I introduced the Eater of Days, which is Eater of Days is something that I think everyone got overwhelmed because of what it does.
Yeah. Damn. Okay, I think for me, like, all of these monsters, like, it, like, thrown in is fine, but I think,
Yeah.
yeah, especially for um introducing it to like new players and stuff, you definitely don't want to overwhelm them with too much in-game lore. Like easing them
Yeah,
into it would be a good thing.
yeah,
Yeah. So pacing is good. So that's like the difficulty
yeah,
you experience. Um, I guess
yeah.
since I'm a player there, it's gonna be difficult for me to ask this question. But I guess what are the things you're looking forward to in continuing the storyline with Creedmore without spoiling too much? Like what?
Well, it's very obvious by this point that you're going back to Creedmore, because your Montfort stay wouldn't. Actually, your Montfort was supposed to be maybe just a two three sessions. It kept getting extended. Jesus.
Yeah. So everybody's going back to Creedmore. Oh, by the way, context for
Yeah.
people who are like, what is Montfort? What is Creedmore? Montfort is like a different town outside of Creedmore, and season 2 started in that town. They started in like we started in a new town. We were just supposed to be investigating something there, but the original town is Creedmore, and the players in season 2 went back in time before the Eater of Worlds ate people up, and the things it eats, people it becomes non-existent. Which I kind of want to ask as well. All these so we're heading back to Creedmoor. All these monsters that you were thinking about,
Yeah.
everything from the Butcher,
Yeah.
Eater of Worlds. At one point, the flesh thing that for terms of service, I'm not gonna describe in detail what the fuck that flesh thing was.
Yeah. Do not describe the fleshling. Jesus
Oh yeah,
Christ.
we don't want to bring
Yeah,
it.
I'm gonna get slapped with so many.
So
Yeah.
I guess I guess I just wanted to understand or like try to pick your brain on how did you come up with these characters? Like what made you think of like introducing these characters, these monsters, into your world? Like where was the
So-
inspirations for that?
Okay, so you and I were both fans of Lovecraft, right? So you can already see some of the. I'm pretty sure if you had a book, you would draw maybe some parallels. You could draw some parallels with some of the monsters I introduced, the Lovecraft.
Yeah, they're definitely Lovecraftian.
Yeah,
But
like the Eater of Days was. I can't remember what I was thinking. I think I was the Eater of Days. I actually Eater of Days was two concepts that I jammed into one creature. So because I was running out of time. Remember for the
yeah,
first season.
yeah,
So the Eater of Days. To explain. To explain to the audience why everyone's so fucking afraid of the Eater of Days. So the Eater of Days is an eldritch entity, right? It is an entity that feeds on existence. So I don't think any of you understood what I meant, right? If the Eater of Days touches you, eats you, or does whatever it does to you will stop existing. Let me explain further. By stop existing, you will no longer appear in your family photos. You will no longer appear in books. Your names will mysteriously vanish from memorial plaques. You will have no mention of you in government, in any documents whatsoever. If you do, it'll be a paper, but everything in the paper will have your name removed. You stop existing no matter what point in time, be it past, present, future.
nice. Terrifying, but nice. So all of this
So,
were Lovecraftian.
So if the Eater of Day eats you, the biggest issue is not that you die, is that nobody even knows that you died or you stopped existing. And this actually happened to This actually happened to some people during the game that we had.
Yeah.
And the players don't even know that they got erased.
Yeah, it was intense. Like, jeez. Yeah, so that again, it really plays into the existential dread. Though, I gotta ask though, because like Monster of the Week is very rules light. It doesn't like it kind of like you kind of put your story into it and do a mini hack of it. Um, would it be safe to say that um like the elements of existential dread from God Machine Chronicle is actually possible, like even on a rules light system you can definitely pull off, the feeling of dread, the feeling of like the grim dark kind of like the odds are against you, like Cthulhian Call of Cthulhu vibes. You think it's very possible to be able to pull that off with the Monster of the Week system?
It is possible to pull it off with a Monster of the Week system, but I think I like if I were to throw the question back at you, um, you have to. It's not really God Machine Chronicles. It does have some rules about how to make it feel more like a high conspiracy, eldritch abomination, existential horror game. But at the end of the day, is it because of the rules or is it because of the atmosphere?
Oh yeah, I guess the systems can the systems are just a way for you to move things along, but like because I haven't really GM'd or like tried to run Monster Elite. I've tried Monster Hearts, I've tried Masks, but I've never tried Monster Elite as a system. And I guess for me, I'm very reliant on a system that would allow those kinds of elements to thrive. So, like, I can positively say that the atmosphere of existential dread, you being helpless to like powerful beings works in Call of Cthulhu and God Machine because they were built for those kinds of things. I can't say the same for
Yes.
Monsters of the Week because I haven't played it.
So
I haven't ran
maybe
it
you should
as a
try
GM.
one of these days.
I
Oh
can't.
wait, Jorge actually did. What's his name? Jorge actually tried running Monster of the Week, but
Yeah.
he couldn't. I guess he couldn't emulate the same atmosphere I was running for Creedmore.
I mean, he did okay with Indigo Isles actually. So yeah, this is my question for somebody who
Yeah,
ran.
Indigo Isles.
Yeah. My question to like can Monster of the Week
So-
pull off the dread? Because I can't answer it myself because I haven't GM'd it. I haven't
So
tried
the
the system.
dread, I guess. Okay, so on one side, if I were to run the same existential horror, the same atmosphere I bring in for Creedmore Chronicles on a D&D game, I don't think I would be able to.
Yeah. That's fair because it's like fantasy.
Because no, because there are rules in the D&D game, particularly the spells, that would absolutely screw up the narrative.
True.
I guess you could say for. I guess you could say maybe for World of Darkness because the system was designed to support the narrative as well, right? When it comes to vampires, you have to fight. You have to fight against yourself, the inner beast, right?
Yeah.
Because you're gonna go rampage when you don't drink enough blood or when you're too deprived of blood. Um, in Werewolf the Apocalypse, also you are also trying to fight against your rage. From going berserk because you feel that Gaia is no longer taken any seriously. You think humans are polluting too much and no longer adhering to the whims and to the rules of Gaia, and that she's dying basically. So there's that. Um, whereas in Creedmore, I guess the only rule that supports the atmosphere that I'm trying to bring out is the pacing. But beyond that, nothing much. I guess it's really a part of it. A part of it is the rules. A part of it is a state of mind.
Yeah, it is. I guess yeah. There are just certain systems that you need to run if you want to get into the atmosphere aspect. Um, and like you're coming in with a horror story, you don't want to run it on um, like something that is catered to fantasy. Though there have
Yeah.
been like I will say though, I ran Persona 3 the video game.
Yep.
Um, I was able to run it in a D20 system. I will loosely call it a D20 system. Uh, Similar to
Okay.
5e to encourage like the transition. So it was like it's super hacked to cater to that. Um, to cater to the existential. So I do agree that 5e can't do like the modernized existential horror well. Like you can do that in other systems. Um, like
Yeah.
World of Darkness. The the tricky thing about like at least again this goes for the rules light system as well. You can I think it's a lot easier to put it on the narrative setting. And the one thing I guess I would ask is like how would it you could I guess it comes with experience as well and feeling for the system and knowing which to pull or push. But like in terms of the existential dread, I'm I'm not sure about Powered by the Apocalypse. I feel like it's a lot more action pace or like it's moving along the sea and it's trying to investigate. It's like more of a thriller aspect. But you did pull off the existential dread
So
with monsters for that because it came with your story. But I think as a whole, as
yeah.
the system itself, you're gonna need to really have that storyline that you want to cause existential dread, but the system doesn't like it doesn't come naturally or it's not built in the system. You have to put it in the system, kind of thing. But
Yeah, you have to put it in the system. You definitely need to prepare for it. So I guess the reason why I played Creedmore for a second time was because I was listening to a lot of creepy pasta, the good ones, not Jeff the Killer. Jesus Christ, who the hell gets scared of Jeff the Killer? He's just a fucking Jason wannabe.
he smiles.
And
He's
yeah, it's Marston. Yeah, it's like I don't know why people are scared. You can just whack him with a frying pan. Anyway, no, like for me to prepare, I actually listen to a lot of good creepypasta. I also, you know, who Sandy Peterson is.
It's that's family. He wrote. I think he wrote a lot of crime stuff, from what I remember.
No, nope,
No.
nope. You're right. He wrote something, but it's crime.
What did he write?
Mars, you play his game. Mars, you play his game. It's your favorite game. Sorry, it's your favorite RPG system. One of your favorite RPG system.
Cthulhu? My brain just suddenly what?
He's
Uh
one of the writers. He's one of the writers of Chaosium.
oh, okay. All right, so Call of Cthulhu. So it is Call of Cthulhu.
He's the guy who's responsible. He's the guy who's responsible for turning the stories into monster stats.
Oh, cool, cool.
He has a channel in YouTube. You know what's so amazing about him? He's not just a game board designer. He's an RPG designer. He's the guy who also coded Doom.
Yo. Oh no, that's goals. That's like game career goals.
Yeah.
All right, so
He is a very good. He just came up with a board game called Cthulhu Wars, which is something that I'd really like to bring to the Philippines. And play with you in the far future.
Yes, but so what about Sandy Peterson?
Sandy Peterson actually will. He has a channel online, right? And he talks about what makes a game scary.
Yeah.
He talks about game design, but he also talks about how to invoke that atmosphere. For me, he talks about movies, and when it comes to movies, because I can't invoke visual elements in storytelling, I try to use descriptions. If I had the audio recordings, I'd probably use them as well. So it's really a state of mind, and I have to. There are times where I have to actually allow it to ruminate,
Ooh.
like to really steep in, get into that zone where I don't say I feel terrified, but yeah, it's like
Yeah. It's
yeah. One of the things you can do is listen to Sandy Peterson.
yeah.
Oh, his channel is actually called Sandy of Cthulhu.
Nice. Okay. Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
So, I guess uh, the like with our episode closing, we talked about a lot of things today. You were able to give a fun blurb about God Machine Chronicle, fun blurb about Monster of the Week, and discussing about Creedmore and the story so far and the story that's to come. Kind of with a bit of a teaser here and there. What as we close this episode, um, what are like I'm leaving the floor for your final says, your final words. Like what takeaways do you want the listeners to have? Hearing about God Machine Chronicle, hearing about Monster of the Week. What do you want them to bring home or like take away from all of the talks that we've had about this? Like
For
final
me,
says.
I don't want to sound like a snob, but like horror is my thing. I live, breathe, and talk and dream about horror. So I know not everyone is into horror, right?
Yeah.
Uh, so definitely, can completely understand why you want to play D&D, Pathfinder. At the end of the day, I guess uh, it's really up to you. If you want to do power gaming, if you want to min max, do the thing you want to do. I'm not gonna be like this extremely strict, like, oh my god, you're plebeians, you're fucking normies. Go play a D&D and Pathfinder. No, I'm definitely not gonna do that. But at the same time, for me, all I'm just saying is, I think you owe it to yourselves, the listeners of this podcast, to try out other systems as well, because I can tell you, if you like, the reason why I know about other systems, or I can introduce you to nice systems, or why I can introduce like horror, or I can I guess how do you say that, weave an atmosphere in certain games, is because I've tried other stuff. There's a whole pile. There's literally a big pile of books of RPG systems that I have in my bucket list that I really want to try. Um, aside from just horror, or aside from just Monster of the Week, I can give you some right now. Right now, I guess you might not feel it yet because you're young and you have time. But Pathfinder and D&D is absolutely time consuming, and I don't mean that it's not fun. It is. It's just, if you're gonna organize and host the game, it's very time consuming. Like it sometimes it feels like a sacrifice. That's all I'm gonna say. There are better systems that will that will help the game flow much more smoothly, much more faster. I can give you one right now. It's called Shadows of the Demon Lord, which still operates on D20 system, meaning that it runs on the same system as Pathfinder and D&D, but it's not watered down because watered down implies it's bad. It's streamlined. Like I can give you like one of the advantages is there are no dead levels. Um, if you want to try other things, I suggest World of Darkness. If you're heavy into dread and atmosphere, World of Darkness. If you want to try if you want to try Western, you can try Deadlands, which is
Oh,
cowboys and really campy.
yeah.
Deadlands is fun.
Super
Undead
fun.
cowboys. Yeah. And the one I really want to try right now is Exalted and Godbound, which is almost the same thing, except Exalted is more uh, infinitely complicated version of Godbound. Godbound is where it's at. You can run the game very smoothly. I'd like to talk more, but time is of the essence.
No, it's all good.
Um,
So yeah, takeaways: try to be open-minded on trying other systems. Try horror at one point, and or uh, indulge yourself in the experience of trying out new things. Go out of the comfort zones. That's a really good takeaway. Again, thank you,
yeah.
Axel, for joining this lovely podcast and talking about the systems we like. And thank you again for introducing me to this wonderful world. Officially 6 years ago, around this time, yeah, actually, it's around this month
Yeah.
that I got introduced to it 6 years ago. So it was really a fun discussion with you, and I guess you can, like, I know you don't want to be found, but you can definitely, for people who want to hear in about Creedmore, can I talk about the schedule on Creedmore in case somebody wants to is in the
Yeah, sure.
So, Creedmore Chronicles is actually run on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, um, depending on where people are available. You can definitely listen in. You can be an observer, a spectator, listen in to more of the fun stories. At one point, Nins wanted me to ask if I could record the the Creedmore Chronicles when it happens. But for now, you feel free to listen in. We're in the Dudes and Dice server, Dudes and Dice Davao server, Discord server, where the game is run, and it's run by our very own Axell. Again, thank you for talking about God Machine Chronicle. Thank you for talking about Monster of the Week. This is this week's TTRPG talk. Tune in next Monday. I believe I'll be talking to John, who's been into Scion, Exalted, and Legend of the Five Rings. I might have him talk about those three, or perhaps Legend of the Five Rings, for next Monday. So every Monday, catch us around this time, 8 p.m. onwards. Listen in. Let's talk about more TTRPGs. And again, thank you, Axell. Appreciate you for your time, and thank you for sharing your stories.
Thank you, Mars. Thanks everyone for listening to me.
And
Yeah.
and,
Have a great time. Try other systems, please.
yes.
Please, by God, try other systems. Stop this domination of Pathfinder and D&D. That's all I ask.
All right. So do try more systems, and let's talk about more TTRPG soon. Take care, guys.